Tried to get a class going, a student-led class. This is something they do at UC Berkeley, to talk about Palestine through a settler colonial lens. He went through all the procedures, he got it approved, he had faculty approval, and within a couple of weeks of the class starting, Israel advocacy groups threw a fit. They wrote the administration, they demanded that it be canceled because it was polarizing and biased and I don't know what. And right away, without even telling Paul, without telling the faculty that approved it, they suspended the course. And it was suspended for a while. We represented Tom DeAngelis and Sarah Ali at Brooklyn College, who were part of a protest about tuition prices and a number of issues happening at the university, not including Palestine, that particular protest, but they were targeted for discipline. The two SJP members of the group of other students, and because somebody said something about Zionism during the meeting, and they were forced to undergo a disciplinary hearing. Rami Abul-Najah was a student at George Washington University. Somebody mentioned this case earlier. He's Palestinian. He saw a number of flags hanging around campuses. People hang flags from their dorms, dorm windows. And so he decided, I want to, show my pride in Palestine, being Palestinian, and he hung a Palestinian flag outside his window. And almost immediately, he had campus police at his door. They ordered him to remove the flag, and he was threatened with disciplinary action if he didn't behave. So these are the kinds of requests for help that come to us. At UC Berkeley, we intervened. We told the university this was a violation of Paul's academic freedom and First Amendment rights. And the course was reinstated within a week. And we're working now still to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again. At Brooklyn College, the students were cleared of the disciplinary charges against them. And I mean, this was a ridiculous disciplinary hearing. It was like a full-blown trial, and we represented them in that hearing. And the jury, which was faculty and students, were just appalled at the story that came out, the kind of repression that they were facing. And at GW, after we intervened, the student didn't really want any publicity on this, but eventually he was just so humiliated that he was being singled out in this way that he said, you know what, forget it, let's go public, let's pressure them. And so we did, and the Washington Post covered it, and George Washington University scrambled to right the situation. They apologized to him. They said, we're going to apply the rules equally to everybody here. What does that mean? It means now nobody's allowed to hang flags. So maybe not the best result ever, but perhaps better than having some discrimination in who gets to hang flags, right? And what about the Fordham Lawsuit? We're really taking it to the next level with this lawsuit. We worked with Ahmed and his colleagues for over a year, advising them about how to navigate the situation, how to respond to administrator requests. We advised them to document everything that happened, to write back to the people they were meeting with and say, you said so-and-so, isn't that correct, right? So we have this record now of what happened over this year, and that's what enables us really to bring this lawsuit against Fordham. And as I said, what's as important in this case is the support and the pressure that continues. So that is on us, that is on the community, that is on advocacy groups to keep up the pressure to make sure that Fordham follows through and rights the ship here. So I encourage everybody to really speak out about this. Our advocacy work has also been successful. We've seen many successes, and these are some of the biggest challenges we're facing. But we work with coalitions around the country to respond to this legislation. We write legal memos explaining to legislators why these bills are unconstitutional, and infringe on First Amendment rights to engage in boycotts. And we advise and help these coalitions to lobby their legislators, etc. So, although many bills have been passed into law, there have been defeats as well. Recently in Virginia, a law was defeated. In Maryland a couple of times. So with strong opposition, it is possible to defeat this, and we're appealing to those who believe in human rights, who believe in civil liberties, to make sure that our rights are protected. And we're now looking into challenging these laws legally. Our advocacy also goes beyond that with government agencies like the Department of Education, that has where many complaints have been filed, legal complaints. So we've been instrumental in getting these complaints that say, there's an anti-Semitic environment on campuses, getting those dismissed, and that has been very important. And then our documentation work is also essential. Without kind of the aggregation of this information, without documenting what's happening and showing that this is part of a larger trend, that it's a concerted effort to silence this advocacy, we can't really tell that story. And so the report that we published and the reports that we have been publishing since then, we take them to legislators, we take them to universities, and students and activists use them to say, this is a larger problem, and this is about free speech and free expression, and we have to defend that. So that documentation is critical, and it's also important for the media when they're writing about these stories to be able to cite to our report and say there were so many incidents in 2016, and to give examples of what we're seeing. And then our education, as I mentioned, we do Know Your Rights trainings. We hope to do one here in the summer with the youth program, high school and college students that may experience some of this if they become active in college. We publish Know Your Rights materials online and in print, and it's really a way to prepare people for what they might encounter. And as a result, we see a lot of students and activists being able to self-advocate. They're able to identify a legal problem when it happens, so they call us, and they're able to respond in a way to stand up for themselves. So that's a really critical part of what we do. And slowly but surely, we're really beginning to change the conversation in the media. The media exposure to our work has increased exponentially. Just in 2016, we had about 165 mentions in the media, quotes or mentions of our work. So just to give you a sense of why this is important, what our clients say, how it affects them, many have expressed that just knowing that we're there is a huge relief. It makes a difference to them knowing that somebody will have their back. And they know they have a lawyer to turn to, and it emboldens them to keep going, to not give in, to stand up for and face the opposition that they're faced with. We're there to support scholars who are under attack. We provide them with advice and advocate on their behalf. It can be lonely to face these kinds of attacks on your own. And, really most lawyers can't do this work. Not just any lawyers can do this work. We have an important understanding of the political situation, the context that this is happening in, and we're sensitive to the politics that surround these issues. So in combination with our expertise on First Amendment issues and the kind of trends in suppression, we also know the politics and can navigate that. We've heard that from students that if it wasn't for us, they would have just let it go. They would have just moved on and let the injustice happen because they didn't know how to fight back. And might have taken the disciplinary sanction instead of fighting them as Sarah and Tom did. Our representation and our Know Your Rights trainings really help students avoid and navigate other potential issues. So they come to us ahead of something and say, what should we do to avoid this? And so we're able to advise them and say, prepare in this way, or avoid this kind of thing, or this kind of thing will bring this kind of response, right? So we know that we're blunting the chilling effect of these attacks. The intention is to intimidate people to the point where it's not worth it to them to be public about this, to speak publicly about this. And our role is very much to be a buffer, to ensure that people can continue doing what they're doing so that we can begin to change the status quo. Unfortunately, this is not going to go away anytime soon. All the indications are that things will be ramping up with the huge investment in these attacks. And we need to make sure that we can sustain this critical work and that we can continue to respond to the increasing demands for our help. We've been growing steadily. You can see the kind of rise in our budget over the years. And about half of our budget comes from foundations, and half comes from individuals like you who understand the need for this and understand what's at stake, and how important it is to have an organization like ours. So we really rely on individuals to support this work. It's very few foundations out there that are willing to fund this kind of work. So thank you. I know. I'm so grateful for your time and attention and your support.
How about taking a few questions?
Yeah, I'd love that.
So, anyone have a question?
Just have a statement. I grew up